You've probably heard this buzzword thrown around a lot, digital transformation. But what does it actually mean to get it right? Well, it's so much more than just buying new software. It's about fundamentally rewiring how a business operates, how it competes, and most importantly, how it serves its customers. So let's dive in and really build a blueprint for success. And the stakes? Well, they couldn't be higher. Just think about this for a second. Research from Archive shows that a staggering 1 in 3 customers will leave a brand they actually love after just a single bad experience. One. That is all it takes these days. In a world with endless choices, the digital experience isn't just a feature, it's everything.
So that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? In this digital-first world, how do businesses actually get ahead of the curve? The answer you'll find isn't some magic piece of software. Nope, it's a complete strategic overhaul. And that is exactly what we're here to unpack.
We're going to break this all down into 5 core pillars. First, we'll talk about the vision, which is all about strategy and leadership. Then, we'll get into the engine room with technology and process. After that, we'll cover the absolutely crucial human element of people and culture. Then, the necessity of managing risks. And finally, why this is really a journey that never ever ends. Okay, first up, strategy and leadership. This is pillar number 1, because let's be honest, without a clear blueprint and a captain who's truly committed to the voyage, even the most advanced ship is just going to drift aimlessly. So let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What are we really talking about? Well, digital transformation is the deep integration of technology into every single part of a business. But the key phrase here is fundamental changes, changes to how you operate and, critically, how you deliver real value to your customers. So how do you even know if you're winning? Research from MIT Sloan shows that the most successful transformations are driven by business outcomes, not shiny new tech. This framework puts KPIs, key performance indicators, right at the center. It starts with creating a set of metrics that actually matter. Step 2, and this is a big one, is treating your data like a core asset, just as valuable as your money or your people. From there, you build the systems to make those KPIs visible in real time, because you can't steer the ship by looking in the rearview mirror, right? And it all wraps up with a commitment to constantly getting better. But you know, a framework is just a piece of paper without the right mindset at the top. Leaders can't just order this kind of change to happen. They have to live and breathe it. That means being okay with a little bit of uncertainty, being willing to take smart risks and maybe even fail sometimes, and letting the data, not just a gut feeling, be the guide. All right, let's shift gears to pillar 2, technology and process. If strategy is the blueprint, then this is the engine room. It's where that grand vision actually gets turned into a day-to-day reality. Now check this out. Data from Everest Group reveals something fascinating. The biggest roadblock isn't the tech itself. Look at that top bar. 63% of companies say their biggest challenge is a lack of process visibility. Think about that. Nearly 2/3 of companies are trying to upgrade an engine they can't even fully see. And that leads to a massive pitfall. As Everest Group puts it, if you just automate a bad process, you don't get an efficient one. What you get is a really, really fast, automated bad process. You're just amplifying your own problems, which is, of course, the exact opposite of the goal. So to get the process right, you need the right tech foundation. Let's do a quick breakdown of the 3 layers of the cloud. It all starts with IaaS, or infrastructure as a service. The easiest way to think about this is like renting the raw digital land. The servers, the storage, the networking, all without having to build and maintain the physical data center yourself. Now, building on top of that layer is PaaS, Platform as a Service. If IaaS is the land, PaaS is the workshop you build on it. It gives your developers all the tools and the environment they need to create and run applications without having to worry about managing the underlying operating systems or servers. And finally, we get to the layer that most of us interact with every single day, SaaS, or Software as a Service. These are the finished products, the ready-to-use applications you get through the internet. We're talking about things like Google Workspace, Salesforce, you name it. You just log in and you're good to go. So how do you choose? Well, this table breaks it down nicely. On one side, you got the public cloud. Think giants like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud. You're essentially renting a slice of a massive shared infrastructure. The huge wins here are the pay-as-you-go cost and near infinite scalability, which is why it's perfect for startups. Then you have private cloud, which is the complete opposite. It's all yours, giving you total control and security, which is why you'll see it used by banks or governments. And right in the middle, you have the hybrid cloud, which mixes and matches, giving big companies the best of both worlds.
Okay, this brings us to pillar 3, people and culture. And honestly, this might be the most important one. You can have the world's best strategy and the fanciest tech, but it's all just stuff if you don't have the people and the culture to bring that vision to life. Getting your team on board isn't simple. It really starts at the top with leadership commitment and super clear communication about where you're going and why. But then the training itself has to be engaging. We're not talking about boring manuals here. Think personalized learning paths, maybe some gamification to make it fun, and encouraging teams to break out of their old silos and actually work together.
And really, all of this, the strategy, the tech, the training for your people, it all has to point back to one thing, the customer. The real measure of success isn't your system's uptime. It's how deeply you understand the human, customer experience. That's your true north.
All right, time for our 4th pillar, managing risk. This is so important because as you transform and create all this new value, you're also inevitably creating new vulnerabilities. You have to protect what you're building.
And the scale of the risk we're talking about is just mind-boggling. The projected annual cost of cybercrime is on track to hit $10.5 trillion by 2025. No, that is not a typo. Trillion with a T. A number that big makes cybersecurity an absolute, non-negotiable priority for every single leader.
So what's the game plan? Well, it takes a multi-layered defense. You need the technical stuff, for sure, like regular risk assessments, strong access controls, and data encryption. But look at that bullet point on training. It always comes back to the people, doesn't it? Your employees can either be your biggest vulnerability or your strongest line of defense.
And that brings us to our final crucial point. It's so important to understand that digital transformation is not a project with a start and an end date. It's not something you just finish. It's a fundamental shift into a new state of being, a state of continuous evolution. This quote really just says it all perfectly. The goal isn't to become digital and then dust off your hands and say, "We're done." The real goal is to build an organization that is nimble, adaptable, and perpetually ready for whatever comes next. The journey truly never ends. Which leaves us with one final important question for you to think about. After walking through this blueprint, looking at strategy, technology, people, and risk, where on this ongoing journey is your organization right now? And more importantly, what's your very next step?